All right, everyone. Thank you for joining us for the one of the last sessions of GCon. This is actually our second to last session of GCon 360 on the third and final day. We have a really exciting presentation for you guys from the Google Apps support team. This is actually the third group from Google to present this week, so we're really excited to have them on here. And it's actually a really interesting topic, discussing how Google Apps support has actually gone Google. I think we hear a lot about how Google is encouraging us as customers to go Google, but it's interesting to see how their support team has actually taken some of those same techniques and strategies to go Google themselves. So I'm going to we have actually 4 members of the Google Apps support team here with us, and I'm going to introduce one of them in just a second. But before I do, I did just want to mention that if you are interested in asking questions throughout the presentation to myself or any of the Google Apps support team, then you can submit them in the Q&A app in the top right corner of your screen. And if you stay tuned until the end of the session, I'll make the form available to win some of our awesome free giveaways in the Showcase app. So that's all in the top right corner of your screen. If you click on the little square grid, you can click on that and you should see 2 icons, one for the Showcase app and one for the Q&A app. So with that, I want to go ahead and turn it over to David, who's going to kick off the presentation for the Google support team. So David, if you want to go ahead and take it away, you can go ahead and start.
Great. Thanks, Andrew. Hey, everyone out there. I'm David Gorvy, and I work on the app support team. And I'm in New York City, along with Andrew, and Daniela and Maria are also in New York, and Charles is in Mountain View, California. And I just wanted to, thank you guys first of all for watching and taking the time out of your day to do this. It's really cool of you, and hopefully there are some more people out there than just my parents. And if you're watching this in the future on YouTube, thank you for watching as well, and hopefully we still have internet wherever or whenever you are. And finally, just thanks to Andrew and the rest of the team for organizing GCon. I know that other past Googlers have presented here, but no one from support has ever done it, so I think it's like a really awesome opportunity for us.
Hey, David.
Yep.
Sorry, I just wanted to stop you for just a second. It sounds like we're having just a tiny audio issue. It's a little bit faint. Do you have any like headphones nearby, or maybe can?
I might have just had something covering the mic. Is that a little better?
That is a lot better.
Okay. Cool.
All right. Sorry to interrupt, but you can go right back ahead. If you want to maybe just repeat those last couple sentences so everybody has a chance to hear them.
Well, I just wanted to thank Andrew. Sorry, guys.
Perfect. That works for me.
And for organizing this. And I'm just going to share my screen right now so we can see the presentation. And I'll take it from there. So, I don't know how many of you guys work in support out there, but if you do, you probably know it's a pretty tough job. People generally have pretty set in stone opinions of support based on their past experiences at other companies. And I don't think you would be surprised to know that that opinion is usually not the most positive of opinions. In fact, we've actually done studies ourselves, and we found that people who've never even contacted the app support team, they haven't even contacted us once, and they have overwhelmingly negative opinions of the support we offer. Even though literally we've never spoken to them before, and so no matter how many things you do, it's pretty tough to really change people's perception of support in general, and that kind of in a nutshell is my job. I'm here to change your perception of Google support in general and app support specifically, and so we don't take that perception lightly here within the support team just because we know it's simply not true at all. We really do feel strongly that what we do and how we go about doing it is a lot more effective and perhaps quite different than what you would expect from a normal support team. when people think about Google, you think about really, innovative ideas like driverless cars, super fast internet, Gmail, Android. But if you ask those people to think about Google support, they probably wouldn't think of it as an innovative space, or a space even where there's even a lot of room for innovation in the first place. And that's wrong, really, we think. So that's what I wanted to talk about today. Basically, our marketing team likes to talk a lot about how businesses have gone Google, how companies have taken that leap into a new, innovative world of cloud productivity applications. And so we wanted to reverse the focus a bit and talk about how our own team, the support team, has gone Google, how we're innovating and setting goals to give you all, our customers and our partners, the most seamless, efficient, and enjoyable support experience we can offer. And the way we see it, if you want to innovate in the support space, it's an equation that you can break down into two parts. First, in the way you provide support, and then second, in the way you go about fixing support. And I think there's a really common misconception that support teams, at any company, just provide support and that's it. But that's not true. We're hired here to both provide support and to fix it, and both of them are equally important to improving your experience, even if you may not know it. So let's talk about providing support. First and foremost, obviously, we are a support team, so we do provide support, believe it or not. And we have a lot of non-support roles as well on our team that we're going to talk about a little later with Daniela, Maria, and Charles. But what's pretty unique about our team is that most of us, in fact, all of us, at least of those examples, have actually been on the front lines of support itself too. So let's talk about technical support engineers, or TSEs. They're really the guys and girls who are providing support on our team. And first of all, what does it mean to be a TSE? It means that, quite frankly, you really know your stuff. You'd be pretty surprised to know that the TSEs we hire for in this role all have computer science degrees or very applicable experience in similar industries. And that's obviously because probably the biggest factor in the support experience you receive is the technical knowledge and ability of who you're getting support from. So obviously we want to make sure you're getting support from the very best people and the most technically able people. And I'll be pretty frank with you guys. I know a lot of people, obviously, who have computer science degrees, and they don't want to provide support because it's not, I guess, as cool as doing other things with a computer science degree. But in response to that, I sort of just think about the dozens of TSEs that I know personally on our team who absolutely do want to provide support because they'd rather work on technically challenging issues that can help save a company, in an emergency, rather than making a product feature that helps you share your a picture with your cat, which is not a bad thing. That's totally fine if you want to go and do that. But the inherent advantage that we have at working at a big company like Google is that we can actually find those people who do want to, who have computer science degrees and do want to help people, which is obviously really good for you all, for our customers. And aside from actual experience and background, what I think really makes us unique is the importance we put on continued education. So every week our TSE teams, they meet, they talk about technical knowledge, and they're basically like symposiums of technical topics. And we also put everyone on an individual tech path. So every single one of our TSEs is on their own customized, personalized technical path. And so if you open a highly technical support case with us, there's a very good chance you'll actually be getting support from someone who has passed Google software engineering interviews, which in my opinion is pretty neat. I'm just taking a sip of water here. I actually dropped in on one of their meetings just a few weeks ago, sort of just as an aside, and one of the things they were talking about were grep commands and other Linux commands, because a lot of what we do on the support side involves digging through thousands and thousands of log lines to find one specific line that may help explain the cause of a certain problem. So that's sort of just to give you an idea of some of the things they talk about. Moving on, let's talk about what it actually looks like when the TSCs are working on a support ticket. So a lot of people tend to think the worst of people they're getting support from. I know that I definitely did that myself before I actually started working in support almost 4 years ago. You know, you think like this person is probably just trying to get me off the phone or as soon as possible, and is probably completely, you know, just disinterested in their job, and are probably, you know, they're like telemarketers. They're probably just working in a really cramped, highly fluorescent office cubicle. But when it comes to, you know, people who actually work on your case on the TSC team, it actually looks more like this picture. And I promise you, I did not stage this picture at all. I work just in the bottom, you know, the top left corner basically of that room that you see right now. I took my camera out and I just started taking pictures of people in the office. And what you're seeing here are 3 TSCs, well, 2 TSCs actually, and their manager on the right, Mike. Shout out to Mike if you're watching. And so those are all very real people who are discussing right now, you know, in that picture, a very technical, demanding support case. And this is not uncommon at all. This happens every day, throughout the day, you know, throughout our office. So we talk to each other, we discuss, we work together, and it's basically sort of like having your own personal brain trust to work, you know, working to get you back up and running, which I think is really neat. And personally, I used to be in these conversations because I used to support our migration and mobile and sync software. And what's really cool is when you're having these conversations and you can sort of step back and realize that you're an employee of Google, this huge company, but it's still flexible enough to operate like, you know, a local startup where you're actually supporting and talking about this just one customer. And to personally attest to that, I actually knew a bunch of the same of the people that I used to support, who used to call in frequently, and you know, I knew them by name. And if any of you watching this contact our support team pretty frequently, you probably have done, you know, you felt the same way. You know, you probably know a lot of people off the top of your head who you speak to frequently on our team. And you know, when you call your cable company or your credit card company, you don't expect to actually talk to someone who you know. But when a lot of people call Google, they do. And we often fulfill that expectation, which is pretty neat. So let's move on to core metrics. Our TSCs work together and they collaborate like you saw in that last image because they're encouraged and incentivized to, and that's really the simple answer. You know, we don't place a lot of emphasis on your typical core support metrics that you think of, like, you know, number of cases closed per hour. Instead, we focus a lot more on the quality rather than the quantity of the support. So you could close 100 cases a day, support tickets, but you'd probably be providing a pretty bad experience for the customer. And so things like, you know, our customer and partner satisfaction levels, which is commonly referred to as CSAT in the industry, or the number of escalations we receive, or the outage response times, those are some of the things that we look at in terms of traditional support measurements. And ultimately, our biggest measurement is resolution. You know, did we or did we not answer the question that you contacted us about? And, you know, even if it's a 1-minute case or a 12-hour API bug case that requires an enormous amount of technical knowledge to solve, if we answered or gave you, you know, a plausible answer or a satisfactory answer for either of those 2 issues, they're the same basically in our measurements. And finally, just a little heads up, I'm not going to talk too much about this, but we are hiring for the TSC role in Mountain View and New York City. So all you have to do to apply is basically just go to Google and search Technical Solutions Engineer, Google for work, and you can apply straight there as the first hit on the site. And I'll give you a moment to look at the qualifications, but, you know, basically we're looking for people who are essentially software engineers who want to help people with challenging issues on the support side. So, you know, we're talking about deep technical knowledge of network administration, mail protocols, similar things. All right, moving on. So where do we go from here? That's sort of the big question. Like, how do we improve upon our support? For the longest time, our goal was to hit this 95% customer satisfaction average for all of our support cases. In 2011, our CSAT, our customer satisfaction level, was at 73%. Today it's at 95%, and it's actually been that way for well over a year now. So you have to start asking yourself as a team, are we actually better off? Are we making the experience for you better if we go beyond 95? Should we set our goal to 97%, 98%? And the answer to that is pretty clear, and it's that even if we hit 100% CSAT on average, we could still probably provide a much better support offering. And that support would that support would be smarter, it'd be more proactive, it'd be more customized and personalized for you. And we'd even use our firsthand experience of how our customers use our products to fix and improve the products themselves. And so that's kind of what Support 2.0 would look like to us. And so the best way to frame it is to say that, yes, our team does innovate by providing amazing, highly technical support, which I think makes us pretty unique in itself, if you ask me. But we also innovate by fixing support. And just a quick aside here, I want to make it clear that our TSCs also participate very, very heavily in the actual projects aimed at fixing support. So if you're interested in applying for the role, just know that you wouldn't be providing support all day long. You'd also be working on these really cool projects that are aimed at a huge range of different things across our org. And so we've got a few speakers on that to talk about a couple different projects we're working on. And without further ado, I'm going to introduce you guys to Charles Noling, who works on our assist team, and I'll let him explain what that is to you guys.
Hi everyone, my name is Charles Noling. I'm one of the program managers for the assist team. Before I jump into the assist program itself, I'll give you a little bit of background about myself. I've been at Google for 5 years now. I started on the support team taking technical cases, and that really allowed me to learn the product, learn about our customers, understand why people are contacting us, and understanding our customer base on who we were dealing with. From there, I moved over to our deployment team, addressing our brand new customers, getting them pumped up, excited to move over to a brand new platform. From there, I moved over to our sales engineering team, and I partnered with sales to help them overcome technical objections that they were receiving from either tech admins or C-level executives of how are they actually going to do this integration between Google Apps and their pre-existing systems and replacing one of their key components of their communication platform. Through all of those different experiences, I actually came back to the operations team to work on small experimental programs, for one, which is the program assist. So where did the program assist come from, and kind of what's the idea behind it? Me and a colleague, Christophe, we were sitting and talking about like our inbound inbound customer volume for support, and we noticed a substantial amount of customers were in trial. And we're like, wow, this is a huge opportunity to provide a different type of support for a customer that we know all of their potential issues that they're going to actually have. This is a critical time for our customers, and not all of them were being fully served through the product or through our sales channels. So a lot of them were contacting support. We analyzed the numbers and we noticed that actually there was quite a few of customers that we were leaving on the table. They would open up a support ticket, very interested in getting their account set up, but not converting. So that's where the assist team was born. We decided that we were going to provide a next level service for trial customers, and let's take a look into what that looks like. So previously, can you go to the next slide for me, Gorvy? Thank you, sir. What we took a look at was the customer experience. How were we handling support? And this is how we handle support today. A customer calls in, it gets routed to the first available agent. that agent, their task is to resolve that issue as quickly as possible. This is really good for productivity on Google's side, and it's good for the customer because they're getting the resolution to their issue as quickly as possible. Now, if that same customer calls in again and it gets routed through our system, the likelihood of it going back to the same rep is really rare. So the new agent will try to resolve that second issue as quickly as possible, but not really having the wherewithal of where that other issue may be, if they were related, whether they could have somehow combined the two. So what Christophe and I did was build a systematic change within our internal systems to route all of our trial customers to a dedicated team that specialized in understanding what our trial customers need. First and foremost, we wanted to make sure that we took care of the issue that the customers were calling in for originally. But if we really dug into each time a customer called in, that was merely a pain point of multiple issues that were going to arise. We knew that if they had email problems, there's a good chance that they hadn't completed some of the fundamental steps of getting their trial set up. One of them being domain verification. And second, and more importantly, is going to be their MX records. So we trained these agents to actually focus in on the customers, start having a relationship with them, and really understanding the customer needs, looking across several elements of what a normal trial should look like, understand what a successful trial will look like, and see if we couldn't move the needle from there. Next slide, please, Gorvy. Thank you, sir. So what was our goals? What were we ultimately trying to do? Number one, we wanted to improve the overall experience for our trial customers. We knew that they were facing multiple sets of issues, calling in multiple different times, and not necessarily getting a succinct experience overall. What we did was really train our agents to really focus in on how can they build a relationship, understand the customer, where they're coming from, understand who they are, why they're trying to start their Google Apps trial, and really address those particular needs to find the right elements to then ensure that they have the correct Google Apps setup, making sure that they're using all of the products within our suite and getting the value that they should when they're using our products. A lot of times a customer will come in looking for, most of the times, email replacement. Gmail is a fantastic replacement for previous either ISP, Exchange, Lotus Notes, but they weren't necessarily considering some of our other products, specifically Drive. And we've trained now our agents to ask questions to really dive into the workflows that our customers are facing, understand how they can then introduce these different elements into their organization and really give them a transformation that is just beyond email and giving them the full Google experience. Next slide, please. So what happened? So we started this program a little bit more than a year ago, actually beginning of last year, and it started a small team and we've grown it tremendously since. And one of the very first things that we saw was an incredible amount of feedback from our customers. They were writing in long letters, actually. We had one that was like 3 or 4 paragraphs of how much they enjoyed working with our support team. This was beyond what we could have actually really thought we were going to be able to provide. But customers went as far as saying, like, they set up their current company on Google Apps and they're going to recommend it to 3 of the other companies that they work with very closely with. This was incredibly enlightening and incredibly empowering for our team to see that customers really understood what we were trying to do to provide, and seeing the value that understanding the customer a little bit more beyond just the initial issue that they're raising a bug on or raising an issue on, and really tackling some of the hard things that, since we know a little bit about the customer, we know how long they've been on the service, we know some of the things that they have or have not set up, bringing that up in some of the initial conversations really allowed us to build a nice relationship with our initial trial customers. Ultimately, as our satisfaction for trial customers went up, we also noticed an increase in our conversion rate. This also goes right back into our retention rates. We've noticed a lot of customers that we helped a year ago are renewing at a much higher rate than those that just went on the online flow without actually contacting our particular team. So to give you a little recap on the Assist program, it was taking our current very highly efficient and executing support team and seeing if we couldn't do something a little bit different on a very particular specific customer type. And the customer type that we decided to focus on was on our trial customers. It's a critical point of their customer life cycle, and we wanted to make sure that it was going to be the best to ensure we created Google lifetime customers. Excellent. If you guys have any questions, please throw it in the QA box in the side, and I'll be more than happy to answer them at the end. Thanks, Gorvy.
Gorvy, I think you're still on mute. If you
I'm just unmuting now. There you go. And so next we're going to have Maria talk about product engagement. So I'm going to let Maria take it from there.
Hello, my name is Maria. I'm working in the support team. I've been in this team for 4 years, and we have been talking a lot about support itself, but we have not talked that much how we innovate and how we innovate with the products themselves. So my work as a product engagement lead is to kind of answer the question that you may have. So can my interaction with the web app support team actually lead to a real product change? So the answer to this question is yes, it's possible, absolutely. Why? You may be surprised to hear that our team just doesn't provide support. We actually work very closely with our product teams and engineering teams to implement the changes that you are proposing to us and that you are suggesting when you open the cases to us. So if you want to think about the work that we've done over the past years, is first thing that we do is pretty obvious, right? We look to the issues that we see a lot of support tickets that may have high escalation rate or very low satisfaction rate. And that is where we can improve and innovate. And that's where my team, Product Engagement, works to address. So if you think about a support team, we can have a lot of insights that rather than the product teams or to an engineer sometimes when something is built and results to a lot of support tickets, they may think that the customer is doing something wrong, but maybe it's not the customer itself, it's because the product, the way it has been built, is not understandable, or it can create a lot of 100 hours for the customer to resolve their problems, right? So here is where we come in as a team, because we have that perspective, because we hear from you every single day. We know where are the issues, and we know how we can interact with you and how we can frame this to engineers to make actual product changes. So here is, for example, one of the examples that Gorvy can show you from the slides is data restoration, right? So this is a simple issue, but for a long time, we didn't have a good answer in the product for that. So the question like, how do you undelete your emails, or how can I undelete my Drive documents, was not a good answer for this, right? So what we did is we meet with Gmail and Drive product teams to understand the technical details of this feature, and we make sure that we can make this technical feasible. And you may think that's something to implement that will take a couple of weeks. Not really. So that's wrong. Engineer teams take a lot of time to get things done, and that's where our team, our technical support engineers, help us to build some of those features. And for instance, Unified Mail Restore is something that is being implemented by our team. This feature has reduced around 200 tickets each month, and those tickets were handling a lot of escalations and frustration from our customers, and which cost us a lot of money. So this was very, very, very good for us, and our customers are very happy with this feature. If we move on to the next feature, is Gmail onboarding, right? So as you can imagine, a lot of support tickets is very easy, like questions like, how can I create an email signature? How can I set up filters in Gmail? And we didn't have answers to those questions besides of our help centers. So what we did is we partnered with the Gmail team to show those questions in the product itself. And now you can see this guided in-product setup training, which walks you through that process. So that's much nicer, it's gamified, and you can see the process there. So we are glad that we are partnering with those teams to make your products better, and that's the role we are playing in my team. So we can move on to the next person. Thank you.
I think we're having an audio issue here for a second. Let's see if I can get Gorvy set back up. It looks like, Gorvy, are you, I think you might be still on mute.
Okay, no, I guess it went back on, but now I'm back off mute. So now we have Daniela, who's going to talk about support accessibility.
And Gorvy, can you get those slides up as Daniela's going?
Are they not? Are they on now?
Well, we're about to, Daniela, if you want to go ahead and introduce, we just lost the video feed. Uh-oh. All right, let's see.
I'll just reshare my screen really quick.
Cool, no problem. Daniela, are you there? Can you hear us? Let's see. Bear with us for just a second, guys. We may have lost her.
Well, Daniela, I can always present Daniela.
Let's give her. Let's see if we can give her a second to come back in. All right. Well, David, if you want to go.
Looks like she's very relaxed in that picture.
Yeah, I think she may be frozen, and she's out. So let's see if she can come back in, and then we'll give her a chance to present. So I think, let's see. Here she comes. All right. Daniela.
Yes. Can everyone hear me?
Yes.
Okay, great. All right. Hi, everyone. I am Daniela Navarro. I have been on the team for 3.5 years, and I started on the app support team, much like Charles, focusing on email and contacts specifically. And my goal now, and what I do now, is a program manager for online help. And my goal is to create an amazing online help experience for our customers. So with that, I'll jump in. We can get the presentation going. So like I said, creating an amazing customer experience, because for us, support isn't only talking to a person about your issue. Support, at least on our team, starts the moment the product becomes unintuitive. So right when you first realize that you don't know how to do something or fix something. So for us, we focus on not only the customer experience when you talk to support agents, but also the journey to support. And we've conducted a lot of user studies and surveys, and we found that the most common steps to resolving an issue are: 1, first you troubleshoot your issue on your own, next you search the issue, and then finally you contact us. So we know that Maria and the product engagement teams are trying to target troubleshooting by fixing the products themselves and making them more intuitive. I want to talk a little bit more about the second step, which is search. Search is a pretty obvious step for anyone trying to resolve any type of problem. But quite frankly, finding the right self-help information has been pretty difficult for our users. So we started looking at search engine optimization, or SEO. And we realized pretty quickly that our help centers were not optimized for SEO. And I know that sounds pretty crazy, since SEO pretty much only exists because of Google in the first place, but it's not like we have a magic button that we can click to make sure our content goes to the top. We're competing just like everyone else, and we're creating the SEO just like everyone else. So we are reworking some of our articles to make them more intuitive, more discoverable. One example would be an article titled "Sending Mail from a Printer, Scanner, or App." And we changed the title to "Google Apps SMTP Settings to Send Mail from a Printer, Scanner, or App." Because when you're reading your printer manual, it actually says SMTP settings. So that's what you're going to search for. And that little tiny change, it changed the click-through rate from 1% to 24%. Now, I don't want to bore you with all the numbers, but we've made similar changes to all of our top Help Center articles at this point. So you'll start seeing better search results when you're searching for Google Apps-specific questions. And these changes are totally invisible to you, but they have a very direct impact when you're actually searching for support. So even when you think you're trying to solve a problem on your own by searching for the answer, just know that you are very much still in contact with support throughout the whole process. And we're not only making our Help Center content easier to find, we've also put the information right in our products. So if you've ever clicked on the little question mark within the admin console, or the Help button from inside of the settings cog in Gmail, you'll see this little Help Center box that pops up with relevant Help Center articles. And we've optimized those articles so that depending on where you are in the product, you'll see relevant results. And you can also search for articles right from the product, so you don't have to leave, go to the Help Center, look at this article, go back to the product. It's right there, and you can follow the steps right from the product. And then if you're an admin, you'll notice that the phone number is also there to contact support. So along these same lines, we're also making your online help experience a lot smarter and more personalized. So we've recently started building what are called product signals that let us customize the content you see in a particular Help Center article based on which products you're using or based on which settings you've enabled. Of course, you'll want to be signed into your app's admin account for these to work and for you to see these signals. But for instance, we have a product signal that tells us whether or not you have a billing error with your subscription. So let's assume you're aware of the issue, you start searching for the answer, and you land on the wrong Help Center article. We can display a little banner at the top saying, hey, this is the right one, this will help you fix your issue based on those signals. And the UX studies have also shown us that when people look for how to contact support, it's really difficult for them to actually find how to contact the support team. And that's a shame because it's a terrible way for us to start off the support experience, and it makes it look like we're trying to hide our contact information from you, which is the complete opposite of what we're trying to do. So another thing we've been doing is starting to display the phone numbers more visibly in the Help Center in our Google search results. So when you type in Google Apps phone number, you'll see a box with our support line. So to summarize, we want your support experience to be simple, consistent, and personalized. You should be able to find us, learn from us, and know what to expect from us even before you talk to us. Thanks.
All right. Thanks, Daniela. And thank you, Charles and Maria. And I just wanted to take a step back where we are right now and summarize briefly what we've talked about already. First of all, if we go back to that equation, innovation equals providing support plus fixing support. And so in the first 15 minutes or so, I talked about the providing support section and the TSEs on our team who are, very highly technical and provide support and also work on some of these projects that Charles, Maria, and Daniela mentioned. And then, obviously, the fixing support section is not just limited to the 3 projects that we just talked about. Those are just 3 interesting projects that I thought you guys would be interested in hearing about. But we're also working on a huge range of other things all the time. We're, heavily incentivized to think about new ideas, new internal tools, new processes, anything that really just helps us make the experience better for you all. And so finally, I wanted to talk a little bit about who we are as a team, because we've said a lot of things that we've done, but we haven't actually said anything about the people on the team themselves, aside from their educational backgrounds. And I think it's important to talk about really who we are, because when a lot of people think about technical support in general and at Google, they either think one of 2 things. They think, I'm from Google and we're happy to help you, basically, like I'm a robot, and you might recognize that 404 robot error guy when you ever get an error in Gmail. They either think that or they think this, which is nothing, and that really means that they don't even know that Google offers support. And believe it or not, that's very true. A small number of our apps customers, people who are literally paying for to use Google Apps, and as part of that service to get 24-hour support. A lot of those people don't even know that support is part of that package. And so, like I said in the beginning, a lot of those people would say our support is bad if you told them that we offered support in the first place, and we want to change that perception. And you may be thinking, why would I say this is even a problem for us? Seeing that the support team's goal is to obviously keep support volume, at a minimum and to reduce costs. And yeah, we do want to minimize support volume, and we do want to minimize our costs. Obviously, any company wants to do that, but we want to do it obviously the right way. We're not trying to hide our contact information from you guys, or the fact that we even exist. We want you to contact us, but we want to make our products really great and intuitive so that you don't have to contact us in the first place. And so we want you to know who we are, and this is just a small example of some of the people on our team from different functions and events and whatnot. But long story short is, you can see those pictures, and these are regular, normal people who have lots of hobbies, lots of interests. We just happen to work at Google, and so we want you to trust us and to be able to feel okay, taking chances using the new products and workflows that you may not be used to, because you know that you've got a team of people like this, people that you see who are really smart, they're really experienced, and most of all, they're really just decent people who want to help you and will have your back. And we want you to know that we're not robots too. That we're not those Google Terminator machines, and that we don't have time limits that when we talk to you, and our goals are very, very, very simple when it comes to support, and really it's just, like I said before, it's resolution. We are there to make sure that we answer all of the questions that you have. And so that's why, to us, support, it should be technical, it should be knowledgeable, it should be efficient, it should be helpful, simple, and honest. And if you ask me, if you did all those things really well as a support company, and at any company, I'd say you're probably running a pretty good support team. But if you really want to innovate in this space and do something different and change people's perceptions of support, you've got to be human above all else, in my opinion, and in our opinion. What that means is you shouldn't feel like your app service and support is being run by a bunch of servers in a giant warehouse somewhere, or by people who are just, like in office space, just clocking in and clocking out to get a paycheck. Real people are working on these products, and real people on our support team are helping you use them. And what's unique to us is that in a lot of cases, these people are the same people. And that's what I think really puts our support team over the edge. So, to go back to that original equation of innovation, I guess I'll sort of admit I kind of fibbed. Innovation and support doesn't just equal providing support plus fixing support. It really only works in the first place if you care about support first and foremost. And that's what makes our team human above all else. And so we feel pretty strongly that we're innovating both as we provide support and as we fix it. And because of who we are, the great team, and more importantly, people that are on this team, because of that, we do care about support. And all the 2 a.m. chats and emails I've received, like the canceled meetings, the times where people got on their phone literally while they were on vacation in the middle of the ocean somewhere, those are all the things that I can attest to know that people on our team really do care about supporting you. So to sum it up, support has gone Google, in my opinion, but more importantly, we're still going Google. And to finish things off, I wanted to play a really short 1-minute video that I put on our YouTube channel yesterday that I think gets the tone of who we are and what our brand is pretty well. And Daniela, who you guys just saw presenting, actually is the star of it. And full disclosure, I made this video, so maybe that's why I think it supports our brand pretty well. But hopefully you'll agree. So I'll just click play here, and hopefully you'll be able to watch it.
Oh, I was so scared.
You're pretty nervous. You're not sure what's coming next.
My first call was about setting up MX records.
What was my first phone call? Ooh, I use email migration API to migrate their data. What? It's easy. But we all have backgrounds in computers, so the tech part's a given.
But we actually want to make the experience enjoyable too.
It's important because of people. You. When you think of Google, you think of self-driving cars, search, Gmail, click doodles.
But you probably don't think about support.
Where's the love? Nope. We don't have any rules or boundaries or even time limits.
Our job is to make sure that we get it done.
And done really well.
Whoa, this is my interview.
You're a real person. I'm a real person. Let's talk like real people.
Okay, and so hopefully, I don't know if you guys heard that or not, but hopefully you did. And if not, you can always check out that video on the Google for Work YouTube channel. Just go to YouTube and type in Google for Work, and you'll see it there. And so that's our presentation. I really hope you enjoyed it, and I really appreciate, again, everyone who's watching this now or in the future to take the time out of their day to do so. And you know, if you're a Google Apps customer, contact us and we'll talk.
All right. Thanks, David. That was a great and the rest of you guys, Daniela, Charles, and Maria. That was awesome. Great to hear from the support team. We do have a couple of good questions. We're running really short on time, so I did want to give everybody a chance that is interested in attending our next session on the Google Apps Admin Certification Exam and how to prepare for that. I just want to make sure that everybody who's interested in attending that session has a chance to move on over to that page. And I also wanted to mention that the form to enter to win our free giveaways is up in the Showcase app, so feel free to enter in your information there. And then I think now we can take some questions. Do you guys have the Q&A app up in front of you? Do you?
Yeah, I can answer some of these questions. I see a couple.
Sure.
The first one I see from Don Wolf. Thanks, Don, for asking this question. How distributed are your call centers? I talked to a guy from Ireland the other day, and he was great. And so we have teams across the globe. So you know, we have to support 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So we've got offices in Ireland, in New York, where I'm at, in Mountain View, at headquarters in California. We have in Sydney, Australia, and Tokyo, Japan, and spread out, you know, partners across, you know, interspersed throughout those sites, throughout those locations as well. So I mean, literally, we span across the globe, all time zones. So thanks for asking that question. Let's see, what else we got here? And you know, Danielle, Maria, Charles, if you see any questions that you want to answer, let me know, or just shout out. There's a bunch of them listed here. We got one from Daryl Cooley. When submitting an email support ticket, you ask the question, how do you feel about this issue? With answers such as confused, frustrated, worried, angry, annoyed, etc. So how does that answer factor into the handling of the ticket? And so one of the ladies on our team in Mountain View, her name's Lindsay, actually spearheaded that project, and it's a really cool project. And she is it's a shame that you didn't get a chance to listen to Lindsay in this presentation, but she's very focused and interested in customer support in general and the experience that people get. And so she goes to a lot of these customer support conferences, across the country. And she came back from one of them, and she had this idea. I guess they had talked about it at one of these conferences to try and understand like the emotional state that our customers are in when they contact support. And so to answer the question, it doesn't. We don't change anything in terms of like response time or anything like that. If you're angry or happy or sad, at least I don't think we do. Last time I checked, but it just gives us an idea of what issues are causing customers to get angry or upset, and so if we can see that a particular issue, like for instance mail restoration that Maria talked about earlier, if we can see that is causing almost like 90% of customers to be upset, and that's just a number I made up off the top of my head, so don't quote me on that, but I would assume that the number of customers who were happy about mail restoration issues is probably pretty low. So just being able to know which ones of those issues are the most like upsetting and frustrating to our customers helps us prioritize them in terms of like getting them fixed within the product or within the help center or any other asset that we use to support you guys.
I'd add in on that as well. This is Daniela again. The other thing it does too is it allows us to help us sort of tailor our conversations to the customer's needs. Yeah.
That's true. I mean, I remember when I don't work on support cases anymore, but when I did, and I would see, the agent, the TSCs, they see the emotional state as well, and so I would get a case about some sort of migration issue, and I'd see that the customer was super upset with a little like angry emoticon, and it didn't like necessarily change the way that I went about troubleshooting the issue, but it did it did make me respond and communicate in a certain way that I thought would be more helpful for the customer in that situation. All right, what else? Do we have time for one more maybe?
Yeah, I think maybe one or two short questions. We're running relatively short on time. I think Daniela, Charles, and Maria, did you guys have questions that you wanted to answer? If so, you can unmute and speak up.
Well, I've got. I mean, it looks like Marilyn Dorr asked a question of can one email to ask for help, or is calling the only way to contact support? And so that's a thank you for asking that. Was that Marilyn? Marilyn, sorry. Thanks for asking that, Marilyn. There's three ways you can contact support. You can email us, you can call us, and then you can chat with us. And chat is relatively new, but we're pretty proud to say that we now offer it. And Danielle is our accessibility expert. If she wants to talk.
I was going to jump in and say yes. So just what Gorvy said: email, chat, or call us. And what I wanted to mention was the best way to contact support. Go to the Help Center and click on Contact Us, and that gives you all of the support options available. Within your admin console as well, if you click on the little support icon, it also tells you all the different contact options. When you're the Apps Admin Help Center, make sure that you're logged into your Apps Admin account. That way it's very easy for you to find the information. I would say when you're calling, the one thing you have to be aware of is that you do need a customer PIN to call. And that's what you can get from the admin console. You generate it in there. But you don't need a PIN to send us an email or to chat with us. You just have to be logged into your admin account from the Help Center.
Looks like another question from looks like this is from Don again. Thanks for asking, Don. What is the best way for me to suggest a product enhancement and then to track if that enhancement might come to be? So I would say, well, Maria, if you want to.
I can answer that question. Okay. So right now, if you have a product suggestion, I think what you can do is, like, if you have access to Well for Work Connect, you from that you could suggest that option if it's available for you. If it's not the case, from the tickets, you could submit for a feature, but as a support team, we would look into this, but we are not committed to implement those changes, but we will look into this. And in any case, we are very interested to look at this feedback, and we are working on ways to get that feedback from you. But that's the current kind of process. Like, you could use Well for Work Connect or either through support, and we will look into this. But there is no commitment from our sides, from support team. We are like an interface. We love to hear your feedback, but as you know, product teams have their own release process, so we can do as we can within our work or teamwork. But maybe you can follow up on this one as well if you want, David.
Yeah, I mean, I was just gonna say that the best way is to contact support. Like, every time if you contact support and have a feature request, it's not like we listen to it and hang up the phone and then just move on to the next case. Literally every single time if it doesn't already exist as a feature request in our system, then we will create it and it will get reviewed by a software engineering team. And so for the issues that get enough, basically, we have to. If you wanted to get a feature changed in any product for any company, you'd have to make like a business case basically to get that thing changed. Whether it's a change in your grocery store or whatever, you have to state the problem and then state what the resolution would be and how you think that would impact the current state of affairs. And we basically do that with our engineering teams using our case metrics. And so if we can say, like, we had 1,000 cases about this issue, and we can quantify the monetary impact of those cases and the time impact, then obviously that issue gets a lot more highly prioritized, or that feature gets highly prioritized compared to others.
All right, David, thanks very much for answering that question, and obviously everybody from the Google App support team for joining us for this great presentation. Hopefully everybody learned a lot, and we got to answer a couple of questions. Unfortunately, not all of them. I know the people on the Hangout right now, the team, really wants to answer some of your questions. So they're going to move on over to the event page for the Hangout on Air and try and answer some of your questions there. So if your questions didn't get answered, you can feel free to submit them there, and the team will try and answer them as best as they can. But this is going to have to wrap up our time for the presentation. We're right up on the hour time, and we actually do have another presentation starting right now. So again, I want to thank David, Charles, Daniela, and Maria for joining us again today. It was a great having you guys on, and we'll have to do it again sometime. And with that, so I'm going to go ahead and sign off, and we will see you guys in the next session. Thanks.